folks, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Natasha and I do book stuff here. Today's video is going to be my finally fall tag because finally it is cold enough to be filming in general. We went through a heat wave where I am and finally it's like fall weather now. Finally, I'm so happy. I painted my nails so they look like black marble with gold and spooky, and I can like wear sweaters again without melting to death. But yeah, so it is the finally fall tag. I have a bunch of questions here on my phone. I pulled a good old pile of books because I was indecisive as fuck today, so just roll with it. So the first question is, in fall the air is crisp and clear. Name a book with a vivid setting. I couldn't think of anything more vivid for me, at least in my head. Like, I find pretty good imagery in most books, but for some reason Harry Potter and the 3 Harry Potter books, this is the 3rd one that I'm reading through. I've never read Harry Potter before, but I found that the 2 books that I've read and, you know, the majority of the 3rd one, I get such graphic imagery. Like, I can picture Hogwarts, I can picture everything that they're doing and the teachers and like that stupid sport that they play. Like, I can picture it. I have really awesome imagery in my head when I read these books. I talked a little bit about before how like Harry Potter takes me a little bit longer to read because I do want to immerse myself in that world. But yeah, definitely the imagery in Harry Potter. Harry Potter. Number 2 is nature's beautiful but also dying. Name a book that is beautifully written but also deals with a heavy topic like loss or grief. Most of the books I read actually have some sort of loss or grief in them. I sort of realized that. I don't really read too many super happy books, but the latest book that I've read that I felt had a good pairing of this is cute and light, but then also really heavy, that would have been Second Chance Summer by Morgan Matson. This book deals with a teenage girl who is going through like summer teenage love and all friendship and all that shit, but then her father also had the terminal illness, and like that's known from like page 2 of the book. So you have this sort of sense of dread that you're aware that he's terminal the whole book, and you're kind of waiting for that to hit you, and then when it hits you, I cried. Holy shit, did I cry at this book. I finished reading it mostly in the bathtub. It's like a bathtub book to me, which is why it's like all fucked up now. I was so happy that someone wasn't home when I finished this because I was in the tub literally like weeping snot down my face, like like just losing it over the ending of this. But it was so beautiful the way that they did it, and it was just, it's cute but so like my feels, my heart. But I absolutely love this. So this is definitely not the only book I have that's beautifully written and talks with death, but this is the one that I've read recently that just kicked me right in the feels. Another book actually that I picked for that one, which is obviously a very different vibe, I ended up grabbing The Book Thief. I feel like the topic of death in this book, I feel like this book is a good pick for this because death is the narrator of this book, which is a really unique perspective. This is really hard-hitting though, like there's not a lot of happiness in this book. You kind of realize that going into the subject matter. This book was also really beautiful in the way that it describes loss and grief, and also beautifully written. So if you're not looking for teenage love summary stuff and you want like a book that's just is pretty fucking depressing from like page 1, The Book Thief. Fall is back to school season. Share a non-fiction book that taught you something new. I actually don't read a whole lot of non-fiction. It's not typically my vibe. It has to be something very specific for me to want to read or to pick up. I started this a while ago. I didn't end up finishing it, but I did like what it was talking about. I just wasn't in the mind space to deal with it at the time. This is I Am Not a Slut, and it talks about slut shaming in the age of the internet, which I feel is very important given just how prevalent the internet is these days. It just sort of confirmed my ideas about like what's a good slut and a bad slut. There's a lot of like, woo, go women, be empowered, you know, wear what you want and be sexy, and you know, if you feel it, but don't be too sexy because then you're a slut. Am I a good slut or a bad slut? This was really interesting. If you're into that sort of subject matter and feminism and talking about slut shaming and stuff, do pick it up because it's interesting. I just didn't end up finishing it. There's another book that I'm really excited about that I might actually have to break my like no buy, which, let's get real, I suck at. There is a book by the woman here on YouTube who does Ask a Mortician. She answers questions about being a mortician and death, and she has a book all about like cremation and stories about her working in that. It's called I think it's called The Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. I want to pick that up, and that's going to be kind of a non-fiction because it's just more fact, but like I love it, and I think it's going to be a really interesting book to read in the month of October. 4 is, in order to keep warm, it's good to spend some time with people we love. Name a fictional family, household, friend group that you'd like to be a part of. This is going to come to no surprise to anyone who has watched my videos in the last little while. I would 100% include myself in the friend group that's in Dress Code for Small Town, just because I connected so much with this book, and I loved it, and I loved the hexagon of friends that they were in, and it just felt very accurate to teenage friendship and things that I've experienced growing up in a small town. I don't know, there's just something about the friendship, excuse me, there's just something about the friendship in this, and sort of them learning like what is friendship love and platonic love, and just connections. And yeah, this book is, again, probably going to be one of my top 3 books that I've read all year. Highly suggest that everyone goes and picks this up, especially if you want like a good teenage friend group book that doesn't focus too much on like sex, or you know, one of them likes each other and blah blah, whatever. It's a beautiful book, so I highly suggest this one. Okay, I need to put that stack like down because I'm going to die. Up next is The Colorful Leaves Are Piling on the Ground. Show us a pile of fall colored spines. All of mine are kind of like stacked. There's some fall colors right there. Hope you like it. Number 6 is, fall is a perfect time for some storytelling by the fireside. Share a book wherein someone is telling a story. I couldn't really think of anyone that was telling a story necessarily. I feel like The Book Thief has some story elements to it, but I realized that like Fangirl was like the closest thing that I could think of, where they're telling, like she's writing fan fiction and writing a story. Does this count? I don't know. Number 7, the nights are getting darker. Share a dark, creepy read. 2 for this one as well. The first one that I read recently was so fucked up and gave me the heebie-jeebs. Not a lot of things can do that for me because I like true crime. I like knowing the fucked up shit that people are into, but I got the heebie-jeebs at The Good Daughter by Karen Slaughter. There was definitely some stuff in this that I personally didn't see coming, some stuff that I've never seen talked about and written in books. Big, massive trigger warning to this. I don't want anyone to ever read this book that has triggers to certain things, so I'm just gonna put this in here. Sexual assault, really graphic, violent rape. Also, let me see, murder, family death. Without any spoilers, there's also a very claustrophobic feeling to some of this, as well as just a general unsettlingness of needing to get away from a situation. So this gave me the jeebs, and it was fucked up, but it was really, really good. I will talk a little bit more about this in my wrap up, or have talked about it depending on when these videos go up, but yeah, this is a good one for feeling real dark and creepy. I don't want to say on a lighter note, but definitely on a different note. If you're looking for more of a dystopian book that really gives you the kind of like dark, creepy vibes, The Handmaid's Tale did that for me. This was a 5-star book for me as well, and it was just, it's very creepy if you're just a woman in this world, and I thought the writing was beautiful, and the imagery, and just sort of like how this dystopian world unfolded also just kind of gave me the like feels. So yeah, that's this one if you're looking for a slightly different but also dark read. Number 8 is The Days Are Getting Colder. Name a short, heartwarming read that could warm up someone's cold and rainy day. I don't really have a lot of heartwarming reads, especially short ones. So I ended up picking a pretty big book, but also a book that I really liked and I thought it was fun and stuff. You guys know I like road trip books, and I like really good, well-written teenage adventure books as well. This is kind of both. Like, there's a little bit of a road trip element to it, but it's a very much like teenage adventure list kind of thing. Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson, which I quickly realized that Morgan Matson is one of my favorite teenage character writers that I've ever read. She writes flushed out teenage experiences so well. I love this. This talks about a girl who her friend leaves for reasons you find out, and leaves her a list of things that she needs to do during the summer, and it seems cheesy. I thought it was going to be a lot cheesier than it was, and it was so excellent, and the way that she sort of checks these things off her list were just great, and I love this book. It was a 5-star book for me, so this was my heartwarming read. It's not short though. It's like 450 pages, but I read it really quickly, so it's worth the read even though it looks like a big book. Alright, number 9 is fall. Luckily, it's my favorite season, returns every year. Name an old favorite that you'd like to return to soon. This is something that I've actually been thinking about recently with Julie from Pages and Pens doing her, what is it called, Throwback Thursday, and reading books like once a month that were like older books that she liked or just wants to revisit. I have 2 for these because I feel like I want to go back and read them again, both of which are John Green books. It's just I loved the shit out of both of these books back in the day, and I want to see, now that I've read so much more newer YA books, if these still hold up as being as good as I remember them. The first one was Looking for Alaska. I loved this. I remember just loving it. And then the other one was Paper Towns. I like this more than The Fault in Your Stars? In Our Stars? Wow. I just like this more. I like Margot as a character. I like the sort of like mysteriousness about her. From what I remember, I don't remember a whole lot more, but I remember liking how this played out and how it sort of came to conclusion. So this is a book I definitely want to reread. I'm just more in a rereading John Green mood recently because Turtles All the Way Down is coming out, so I want to like reread his older work. So yeah, those 2 I want to try to reread probably in November. Also, a book I want to reread to include in that, I loved American Psycho in university. This book is so fucked up. Like, I don't know if you guys can see how much I liked it. All the covers fucking coming off. I carried this around in my bag like a psychopath for a very long time. And yeah, this book really was super creepy. I had to read this for a horror fiction class, which I loved, by the way. I loved that class. I failed university, but I love that class. And so I'd love to reread this and see if it's still weird and disturbing. Number 10 is Fall is a Perfect Time for Cozy Reading Nights. Share your favorite cozy reading accessories. So the first thing is this amazing mug. I am drinking apple cider, apparently. Local fresh made apple cider is the best thing. But yeah, I like cuddling up in my bed, mostly naked, not gonna lie. I don't really like to like wear clothes while I read, unless I'm out. So when I'm out and I'm reading, I like to wear all my spooky stuff. You guys have seen all of my clothes. I always have spooky clothes. If I'm going to Starbucks, I wear, this is my pumpkin spice tea, which I think is really fun. And then more in the winter months, I love this sweater. This is like my grungiest sweater, but like it's just a gray sweater and then it has these like sleeves on it. So it kind of looks like, I don't know. It's comfortable and I like it. Also my bright yellow sweater that you guys may have seen. Those are my favorite things to read in. Been loving this cup. So yeah. So lastly is to spread the autumn love. I don't know who has or hasn't done this, as usual, you guys know, but if you haven't and you're watching this, please do it and just let me know that you've done it in honor of me or something, I don't know. And I do hope you guys enjoyed this little bit of a longer tag. I wanted to talk today. Can you tell? But yeah, hopefully everyone's doing good, and until my next video, I will talk to all of you soon. Bye.